Welcome to the Voice of the Coast. I am your host, Danica. Along with me, we have Mayor Rodney Grogan with the City of Patterson. Always a pleasure to have you here. And just a little side note here, I tell folks anytime I have interviews, he is the only person that I know that will talk directly to the camera. So with that said, let's go ahead and get started.
Okay.
Let's talk money. Let's talk about funding. And look, I keep my eyes and my ears glued to the street and to Facebook, because Facebook is a street. Facebook is definitely the streets. So tell me about Park Street. There's some work being done at the former Hattie Watts Park.
Park Street Park,
Yes.
which was basically a partnership between the St. Parish School Board and the city, and we maintain the park and so forth, and it has not been upgraded since the late 70s. And so what you actually see out there right now is just basically an open park. And so, as always, Brett and Vinny would always say, well, what do you want? What do you need? And we always said once we finished with Moray Park, at least 90% of Moray Park, that we would move into another park. We gave up Red Cypress Park because of the Williams family. We couldn't really put any permanent projects there. So we were fortunate to get $15,000 from the state, Act 199, and that's motel, hotel tax monies and so forth. And so
Get your money.
Yeah.
I gotta say that because folks are always talking about, hotel, motel. They don't know. They don't understand it.
Right.
It is your money.
Correct.
Come
Correct.
on, okay.
So we got $15,000. So right now they're basically grading the field, and after they finish grading the field, they're going to level off the field, and then we're going to make green space. We're going to plant 15 elm trees out there, and we're also going to remove the old fencing. And once we do that, now I've gotten another $25,000 that will kick in on August the 1st. And when we get that, we're going to look at the pavilion, putting the pavilion up. We're going to keep half of it for sports and half for entertainment, because we have a lot of entertainment and family gatherings out there. So we will put pavilion. Now restrooms, that may come late because we're having problems right now in Moray Park with restrooms, and we're having problems at Cherry Street Park with restrooms. People just don't understand it's not for drug use, it's not for to be vandalized. Yes, we're having serious problems on Main Street at Moray Park with hypodermic needles being left in the restroom and so forth. So we're not going to put restrooms in the first two phases over at Park Street Park. We're going to wait. But we're upgrading. And so right now, we're looking at anywhere between $40,000 to $50,000 within spending by next. We have until the end of June of next year to finish.
Well, I love the idea of a green space, especially trees.
Yes.
It's such a wide open space.
Right.
You need trees.
Right.
As someone who, I was honestly very, very hot one day recording an event, and trees are much needed in that space.
And because so much is, and plus we're going to relocate the lights and so forth, and the lights are going to provide so much, CLECO is doing it for free. It's going to provide so much lighting that it will even expand for security over in the housing authority and so forth. So it's going to be so bright.
CLECO don't do nothing for free, not in my house.
Yeah, but they're, it's going to be a cost somewhere, but they're moving the posters and they're providing lights and so forth.
Oh, nice.
And these will be like stadium lights, are going to be on from dusk to dawn.
Come on, very
And
nice.
so that's all monies that's coming through motel, hotel tax, and so forth, compliments of Brett Allen and Vinny St. Blanc.
All right, now let's move over to Moray Park. You mentioned that, and unfortunately, the bathroom situation is just something that might be a little bit out of your control, but there's also Moonlight on the River. It's an event that occurs about once a month. Tell us a little bit more about how that came about.
Well, Main Street has been trying to, we got a Morgan City person that migrated, Ms. Dominique Best.
You ain't had to say all that. I see you.
Well, I
see
had to give her, And so Dominique moved into Patterson, and along with the past board and so forth, and we brought in some new people, and they kind of say, well, why don't we do this? Why don't we do that? So we know Berwick has the permanent food trucks. So we have a local musician that will come out and offer their talents for free and provide music for at least 3 hours, and along with a food truck, and they sell alcohol. and the musician just provides the music, and people give donations and so forth. So we're trying to see how that's going to work.
Yeah.
And of course, there's different stroke for different folks.
Okay.
You
All
know,
right.
but it's
And how can we find out more information on that, since it's not a city-led project?
well, the Lower Chapala Main Street Cultural District has its own page, and they will post the different events that's going on.
Good job. All right. Well, thank you so much. We're getting started on a good note. Let's keep on talking about the cha-ching, cha-ching. Hopefully there's more to talk about. Come on back right here on the Voice of the Coast. Welcome back to the Voice of the Coast. My guest is Mayor Rodney Grogan with the City of Patterson. We're already in a roll. Let's kind of go back a little bit to Moray Park. I do understand that it is a public park, but
Yes.
for events, let's just say there's someone who wants to throw a birthday party. Should they notify the city, or do they just run the risk of having other individuals, in the park?
It's best that you call City Hall to make sure that it is available. Now, I understand it's a public park, but we also need to notify our city workers to make sure that the restrooms are clean, to make sure that the grass is cut and so forth, and to make sure that it's not being occupied. But you have to understand, Danica, by you just calling me and asking me, can you reserve the park, is public. So therefore, I would tell you, yes, you can use it, but however, if someone else come out there, you can't restrict them from utilizing the park.
Now, also the restrictions on the bathrooms. Are there hours that they're open, that they're closed?
The restrooms are open at 7 in the morning when the city workers, Monday through Friday, when the city workers report to work. And then someone from the Main Street Committee closes the restrooms at 7 o'clock at night. And simply because of what's been going on in the restrooms.
All right, so typically on a weekend, it's not open to the public.
On a weekend, yes,
Or
the Main Street Slade Sanders, he will walk down the street, open the doors, and then in the evening go back and lock them back up.
Same times?
Same time.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So that's what you call dedication and being a lawyer's volunteer.
Awesome. Okay. Let's talk about Fall Fest.
Okay.
The return of Fall
Well,
Fest.
this is my 40th year reunion. So been 40 years of being out of high school. So there's 5 different classes that will be returning now. It will not be doing homecoming week. It will not be doing homecoming week. But I am happy to say that we're looking forward to October 14th.
So is there going to be a reunion?
Oh, there will be many reunions.
Okay.
There's 5 different classes. We're all getting together. And of course, for 40 years, I really want to see some of my classmates and so forth. We've been blessed. Most of us, we get to see each other and stay in touch on Facebook. But we're all looking forward. We want to see who has hair, who has...
Oh, isn't that something? Some things just never changed from high school. Okay. But it's October 14th.
Yes.
And Fall Fest, what's so grand about your Fall Fest? I mean, I know there's attractions. As far as not attractions, I want to be clear on that. It's more of a walking festival.
Well, the Fall Fest really was a smaller downsize from when we did the community fair. And then it's out on the lower Atchafalaya, it's on the rivers, on Main Street. And then when we lost the Cypress Sawmill Festival and so forth, that's all we had for Patterson. So hopefully we will be bringing back the community fair and keep it down in that area and keep it with over at the old junior high school and Main Street. So, it's in the works. It takes some time, but the fall is when most of the local amusement business guy, he's up north. So we would have to go like during the spring, early spring to kick off and so forth, and then you look at the weather.
Right.
But the Fall Fest is like a downsized, a smaller version of the community fair, which was a smaller version of the Cypress Sawmill Festival. But as things turn around right now, things are turning around economically, regardless of what people say, we're in a recession, this, that, and the other. Trust me, when people are refusing to go to work and money is still flowing out there, money is coming from somewhere.
And here you go. It's a great transition because money is definitely flowing. I don't know what your affirmations are, but I mean, Patterson got their money.
Yes, we got
this
paid.
Infrastructure
Yes.
That you have for your sewer rehab station.
Sewer, water, and water meters. Yeah, and we were trying to get the money through water sector, and we were going through USDA, but God blessed us and said, well, you know what, Patterson, you've been faithful and you're about serving the people and being great public servants. I'm going to make sure things happen for you. And once again, kudos to Brett Allen and to Benny that we got $5 million. $5 million that we won't have to pay back as a grant and we won't have to match, and $5 million for our water plan, and we got 2.9 for our sewer, and we got $451,000 to complete our water meters.
Patterson got their money.
And 1.5 from Clay Higgins' office for our sewer lift stations. So
right.
whereas I need $3 million, I got $4 million altogether for my sewer. I don't want rehab, we want brand new.
Now I gotta go to commercial. Now see, you just see. But that sounds great, and there's even more to come. So come on back right here on the Voice of the Coast. Yeah. Welcome back to the Voice of the Coast. Again, my guest is Mayor Rodney Grogan, City of Patterson, and he's got this smile on his face because he's got the money. He's rolling in the dough.
I got that money.
Got the money. He said, I only need this, but I got this. But on the plus side, we've been talking about a water bottling company, you know, Patterson making its own bottles of water.
Right.
Is that still
because
something
we have
that
the
could
new
happen?
state-of-the-art water system and so forth, in Louisiana Department of Health
Repeat
and
that one more
Hospitals,
time.
we have the state-of-the-art, which Morgan City is about to get,
Gotcha.
the non-conventional water plant. And the state is not really familiar with it. We have one active flow, and the state was saying you're going to have two. So we needed $2 million. We needed to get that, or we were going to be cited and this, that, and the other. So Brad and Benny knew that, and even Sam, who was one, they knew how important that was for us. But of course, with government, you have to wait. And I was very patient and so forth, and they came through. And within that $2 million, we also want to bore under the Lower Chapelard to prepare for the future to buy land over on the other side. So we will be able to, which was $90,000 back in the 90s, and now it's $500,000. So we will be able to use $500,000 to bore under to put water and gas to prepare for the future development over at on the other side of the river. So with that $5 million, now, once again, yes, we will look at bottling water, and what's the best place to do it? Sell it to the schools and so forth. The parents and everything will support us, and then we just take and share the revenues.
Give me some of that Patterson water. Well, you said something that caught my eye. When you said developing across the world, are you talking about Victoria,
We are looking
Riverside?
at buying, so we are looking at purchasing property on the other side and so forth, and because that will be the new Patterson.
Is this the first time you've ever said this?
No, it's not.
You've said it to the media before?
Yes, but yes, I have. But the thing about it is, as we were talking earlier, government moves slow.
That's true.
And the longer you wait, the more it costs.
Oh, you're right. And speaking of which, the more it costs, you just know exactly where I'm going with this. I want to talk about, for years, we've talked about the I-49 extension project.
Okay.
And one of the biggest, I'm talking about when we were still doing news, was the conversation was the overpass from Red Cypress to across the tracks to, is that even considered a subdivision? I mean, what's the name of the subdivision? Does anyone know?
That's Pietro Estate.
Okay, so.
Yeah, you have Pietro, you have sucrose, you have sugarcane, you have,
So to that area.
Yeah.
What's the status on that?
Well, just recently we were told that we just need you to update your environmental study. You do not have to wait for I-49. We were told Franklin, Patterson, and Baldwin, because of emergency accessibility, lack of, that we can tap into DOTD to a certain fund. But now we have to update the environmental study. Now that can cost anywhere between $30,000 to $60,000.
Yes, it's just for a study.
Just for the study.
But there has been a study, so it just has to be
There's
updated.
nothing that has changed, but because somebody has to make money and somebody, but I'd rather be safe than sorry.
Yeah. So let's talk, maybe about blighted properties. I know in Franklin they're tackling blighted properties. I believe Morgan City they're tackling blighted properties. Is that something that has been a concern for the city of Patterson?
We have more blighted apartments and more commercial things. But on tomorrow night, there will be a discussion at our council meeting in regards to hiring a grant writer. Right now, there's so much money out there, but you have to be so competitive. And my staff, we just don't have the time and so forth. And of course, Lee, he's offered up his grant writer to assist us and so forth. But the state has also provided us with a grant writer, but once again, it's to all the rural communities, but we still want to get in that time. So we have been in discussion, and we missed out on this with the blight, but we will be ready for next year because you'll go through procurement and bidding and all this other type of stuff.
All right, well, come on back. There's definitely something I want to talk about that actually just took place in Patterson, and let's just say it talks about housing. So come on back right here on the Voice of the Coast. Welcome back. Again, my guest is Mayor Rodney Grogan with the City of Patterson, and I mentioned before we're going to talk about housing. Great attendance. I'm talking about the room was full when the Louisiana Housing Corporation was in town with the executive director, Joshua Hollins.
Correct.
Did you expect that many people to be in attendance?
I did. I expected about 50 to 60, but it was roughly 110, 115 because it had so many in the hallway.
That's right.
And he was really impressed because normally he said there's no more than 15 people, and he travels for about an hour to two, and people don't really show up. But we have so many people that are looking forward to building from scratch. So many people are looking to buy, and then there's so many developers that are approaching Patterson right now with the infrastructure money to see what type of partnership that we can do. And because we just rezoned Patterson and so forth, so zoning ordinances have changed somewhat in Patterson. So things that once couldn't be now can be.
Right.
And the 120 acres south of the rail is being entertained. Good thing that we got the money for the sewer lift station because we can handle the growth and so forth.
So you have that area. You're looking forward to the future for Victoria, Riverside.
And I'm still looking at the land that's next to River Oaks Drive, where the new subdivision that Lucas Colinas, because that plat of land is still available.
Okay. Sounds good. Now, let's go back to the Louisiana Housing Corporation. There are up to 25 programs you mentioned that are available for not just potential home buyers, but for developers, for property owners, landlords that can take part in this. Now, he said that he's coming back. Do we have a date when he's coming back to? And this is to help to assist these individuals that I just named to fill out the application form.
We don't have a date. We're still waiting for his office to give us the date. And as soon as we get the date, we will hit social media, and then I'll call you directly and tell you so we can get it the promotion going. But I will tell you this: people hear about the housing, and when people don't want you in the neighborhood, the first thing they say, oh, affordable housing. No. We don't want that word there to get out there, affordable housing and so forth. I have developers right now that just want to build for senior citizens. I have developers that just want to build for veterans and so forth. We have developers that are local developers that are looking at the needs. You have seniors that want to downsize from the big homes and want to go into secured neighborhoods and so forth. My daughter's 25. She's ready to build. And you have people paying $900 to $1,200 a month rent when they could actually get the keys for service.
Why?
Keys for service, or people that teach school, first responders, law enforcement, firefighters, they can basically get the down payment and the closing costs paid for by the state.
Yeah, so definitely make sure to stay abreast to what's to come because they are coming back. Why do you think people are afraid of the word affordable housing? I mean, are they that afraid of change, or do they not understand the wording?
They understand is anything that incite fear, anything that when you don't want something in your neighborhood, in your community and so forth, and oftentimes you're running off. I'm going to say it like this here. If your community right now, your house is valued at $50,000 or $60,000 or $70,000, and my daughter decides that she's going to use this program and she's going to take the next available lot and put a $150,000 home next to your home, all it's going to do is bring up your property value. So what you just don't want people in your neighborhood. I said it, and that is called fear. And we're no longer living in those days.
That's right.
But that's the number one thing. If your property is only worth $75,000, and my daughter's going to come and live next door and build a $150,000 home, all it's going to do is build up your property value.
Right.
So the word affordable, which you try to scare off and say low income and this, that, and the other, they need to just take that and throw it out the window.
All right, but that's not what's happening in Patterson.
Not in Patterson.
All right, y'all heard it here.
Unified, big community, all one big happy family.
You heard it here. Now let's talk about new business.
Well,
are we looking at any new businesses?
Just as businesses are closing, businesses are opening, and they're relocating. I'm proud to say that. Everybody knows Brody's, the little quick stop in Patterson and shopping center. They're now moving into Ball and Mad. Ball and Mad, the people retired. So it's just flipping and so forth. It's just flipping.
All right. Well, I am so happy to have you here. You're talking about something once a year. No, we're going to do another update. So, y'all, thank you again for being here.
You're welcome.
And also thank you for joining us here on The Voice of the Coast. We'll see you guys next time. Be safe.